to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm John.
And we are back to discuss episode 2 of DMZ. The episode title is Advent. I just finished watching this, and I have a lot of thoughts. Some of them are not good.
I'm shocked.
But, however, okay, wait, no, I'll let somebody else go. Yeah, I'm so curious. John, what did you think of this episode?
Similar to the first episode. Honestly, like how I felt, like it feels rushed. It feels like here's the thing. I'm interested in the stuff with Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in the stuff with Parker. Like I'm interested in like the politics of the DMZ and all how that's playing out, and like, I guess the Una part of it, even though that didn't feel very fleshed out. Like I'm interested in that stuff. The stuff with Scale or Christian, depending on if he's trying to get laid or not, I guess that's
yeah, Scale isn't very sexy.
Yeah, it's like, I'm Christian, if it means we might sleep together.
Right.
But, so that stuff, like, that whole scene, like, for me, like, I know we talked about this last week, that it just, everything about her trying to find her son and, like, the impetus for this entire show, like her going into the DMZ, it just doesn't play for me. That whole scene just felt like empty and hollow.
Because for me, I agree. And for me, it's because, like, I don't get exactly what the fuck his problem is. And maybe, they'll explore more of that. Mm-hmm. Although it feels like, I don't know why they haven't already. If that makes, like, it feels like they're saving it, but the time to talk about, like, the details of, like, why the fuck did you run away would have been in the scene where, he admitted that he ran away. Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, why isn't she, and then when he says, he gave me the one thing you always took from me, power, I'm like, so is this just because you wanted to do hood rat shit with your friends like every other fucking teenager in New York, and your mom was like, no? Is that it? Like, what?
It's like, I wanted to play Xbox and you wouldn't let me. It's just such a... I agree, like, that's the thing, is like, it feels like there's no development to, like, it feels like there's no development to any backstory of this show.
Yeah.
And just in terms of, like, that character, like, the fact that it's so important, because that's the whole reason she's here.
Mm-hmm,
like, that's her whole character drive, her whole motivation is that she wanted to get her son. And so, like, I think it's interesting, the idea that, no, he didn't want to come with her. Like, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
But like you said, like, there needs to be more, like, meat on that bone. Like, there is meat on the bone, but it's like chicken on the left.
Exactly.
It's like they're leaving
it's
all
nasty,
the meat on the bone.
it's nasty meat nobody wants, but Devin. But like,
it's like, that's what it feels like. And so, like, I'm fine because there's only 2 more episodes, and it's clear that they're doing this whole Romeo and Juliet thing between him and Wilson's whoever that is.
She is absolutely stunning. And then I stopped caring after that. Like, I don't need all of this.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, I think it's clear that they're going to do that, whether we want it or not. So, like, I'm fine if they don't revisit the son and the mother-son thing at all. Like, it's over. That scene...
Yeah.
But it's not going to be over. Like, they're going to do something. Yeah. But, like, I would be fine if they didn't do that, because it's just not landing for me. So, like, everything else is interesting. And so just focus on that, Like,
and,
you
like,
only have 4 episodes.
Know how
focus on that.
I don't even know how you make that relationship better, honestly, because like I believe Christian, like this is who he is and this is who he wants to be. He seems to enjoy this shit. He seemed to like the idea of running Spanish Harlem once his dad becomes governor. Like, what could possibly happen to have him be like, okay, I'll give all of that up, or I'll be a different person, or I didn't mean the things I said. Like, it just feels like you said, okay.
I mean, it feels like Parko's going to kill Juliet or something. Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, that's the only thing I can imagine they're going to, like, the only way they're going to have him turn against his dad.
I feel like Alma should just be like, you know what? Drop the ball on this one. Let me try to raise Odie right.
Right? That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, this one knew something.
Yeah. The day she lost her son for good, it's like, okay. What about you, Donnie? What did you think?
So I watched this morning, and when that scene happened, when she... Because I first I was like, damn, she got with her son real fast. Like, that's what I thought the show was about, was her trying to find her son and the reconnection of the son. And I felt like it happened really quickly. She found her son, and that whole scene happened, and I was like, well, fuck, like, what's the point of the show now? Like, the show's, she's done. Like, I had no interest in that character anymore. So she can't get him back. Like, he told her flat out, I don't,
right.
Like, I'm not your son no more.
At least not in 2 episodes, right? Like, it felt like if this was setting up something more,
right.
okay.
This is something, and this isn't something that happened in the past 8 years. This is something that happened before the Civil War. And, like, and then they missed the mark on, at that point when he's going through and he's telling her, like, why he ran and all this stuff. Like, they did some flashbacks, and I was expecting them to give us different perspectives or something that, like, his perspective or something, and they didn't. Right. They just, I was like, what the fuck? Like, he was still, it just didn't make sense to me. I liked everything else was fine. I just don't care. Like, to me, her character's, like, I don't give a shit about her character anymore. Like, it doesn't make any sense to why she should have just went back to the fucking where she lived before.
It was so funny when they got to the part where, like, where they do show the flashbacks, right? And it feels like they got to that part and they're like, man, we really need some flashbacks here. And they're like, we're not going to film anything else. Let's just show the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's okay, I guess.
Like, right, remember we said, like, we thought we'd see, like, another perspective. Like, maybe his dad was, like, calling to him off on the side or something. Yeah, nope.
Nothing. And then, like, he ends up going to, like, you find out, oh, yeah, he got arrested, like, right then, too. He ran away and got arrested. Like, he went and did some hood rat shit immediately.
No. So, that's not what happened. Okay. First, I just want to say really quickly that I don't remember if I said this last week, but I definitely... Kaylee, did you start it?
What do you mean?
Are you going to bring it to me?
Did it finish?
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. My bad. Never mind. Carry on. So, I don't remember if I said this last podcast, but I definitely thought about it after, before watching this. It's weird to me that she didn't think that her son would have tried to contact his father. Like,
well, she thought the father was dead.
No,
that was the whole
Parker.
Yeah, she thought Parker was dead. That was in the pilot. She said, "Oh, he was in jail," and then whoever she was talking to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Yeah, that whole place was the first bombed." So they thought she had thought Parker was dead because she thought he was still in jail, and that whole area was bombed by the airstrike.
I totally missed that because I just thought
that's why she never went and looked for Parker.
All right, I will buy that. I totally missed that. If you think that he's dead, then yeah. Because otherwise, I was like, why didn't she think that he would go? You know, especially because of the tattoo and stuff in the flashbacks. Like, oh, this was a big like bone of contention between the two of you, keeping him, you know, away from his dad. Apparently,
the part of that like it continues to strike me again. Like, not to be a broken record. But, like, is she telling the truth like, I know that she's looked for her son, right? She says she looked for her son. But in this episode, when she's talking to Una, she says, "Oh, I've been all over the United States and the Free States."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's just been traveling, like, in case he got out.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. Like,
It
that's
did make
one.
no sense.
That's one thing that I feel like they haven't really established well enough. Like, how much is that the entire United States, like the current day United States?
Right,
It's
that's
just
what I mean.
split into-
I don't know like the exact geography of what is supposed to be the FSA and the USA.
Right.
I just know definitely what the DMZ is. But
Right, and-
whatever it is, they are telling us that she spent 6 years searching both places.
And that's the thing, is like, I just, like, why would she think, like, did she go to, like, Oregon? Like, did she come out y'all's way and be like, oh,
Well,
maybe
see, that's
she's
the
here?
I feel my thinking is, which I don't know, it makes sense to me only because, again, like, I would imagine, like, when she says I was knocked out and when I woke up I was in wherever she was, right? I would imagine that it's easier for her to, again, especially in those early days, if she's thinking, oh, well, maybe, you know, all hell broke loose. Maybe he got on a bus. You know what I mean? Like, and now, so she's searching wherever she ended up, wherever refugees were going. And then you just expand from there. That is my thinking. And then when she didn't find him in whatever territory she was allowed to be in, she snuck into the other territory and searched wherever she could. So what that looks like, though, I don't know. I guess they're purposely, being vague on that. I don't know what that looks like. Yeah. Is it like the DMZ out there? You know, like, are there several, like, what does the government look like? I have no idea. But they're telling us she searched all over both places. And this was the last place.
Yeah, right. I think, right, to me, it's just, what it boils down to is just, it's a flimsy premise. Because I feel like the first place I would check is the last place I saw him, even though it is the DMZ.
Right.
I'd be like,
and I mean, I guess
where
what
he
they're
must be.
saying, though, is that she couldn't do that. Like, it was just like I mean, again, I would imagine it's like, you know, me saying, oh, I'm going to go to South Korea and I'm going to go work my way into like, what? How? Like, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I buy it. But, yeah, I totally missed that, Donnie. So thank you for reminding me. I forgot that she didn't know that he was still alive. Because...
But that doesn't make sense. I mean, she still could have went and I'm assuming, like, because when she does find him, all his friends, his girl, like, they're all the same people. Like, he's still hanging around with the same
But if
people.
you think he's dead, why? If you think he's dead, you're not going to go looking for. I mean, I get it, but like, I don't know what more y'all want from this fictional woman for looking for her son. Like,
I mean, that's what I mean. It's like,
if I thought the guy, and then we find out in this episode, right, that she's the one. She's the reason, or at least they believe, the reason that Parko got arrested the day before evacuation day, right? Because she snitched. Like, I'm not going sniffing around Carmen asking about Christian, especially if I think Parko's dead. Like, what the fuck I'm going to go to Carmen for? Like, why would I think my son is going to go look up Carmen? Do you know what I mean?
That his right hand man he could have, because that seemed like somebody they knew too.
All right, she's a terrible mother. Is that what you want? Like, I don't know what the hell. Because I don't even feel
that's
like
how I felt in that whole scene with her in what's his name, Scar?
Scal.
Mm-hmm. That whole scene, like, it was coming off like she was a really bad mother. Like, I was I want to see these flashbacks of, like, her being a really shitty mother to this kid.
No, excuse you? Like, how?
I don't know,
the
but that's what I'm
flashbacks
thinking,
I
like,
saw was
for this kid to hate her as much as he did. I was like, what the fuck must have happened?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that they've shown anything. To me, it just looks like he wanted to be in his father's world, like, and clearly Parko's world is not a world you want to raise a kid in. And they fought about that, and the fact that he went and got that tattoo that's just like his father. I mean, I feel like that's them telling us, showing us, and telling us that this is what this is about. And for him to be like, he gave me the one thing you never power, it just feels like, okay, did he hate the fact that she gave him a fucking curfew? Like, what, you know, like, but that doesn't mean she's a bad mother. It just means that this is a kid who didn't fucking want rules.
But I feel like that to go to that much hate, and I don't know.
I don't know. Well, it would also depend on what the fuck the father has been telling him for the past 8 years.
I mean, that's the thing, is that he was a child, and then he was not only caught between his parents, but then he was caught in a war.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't blame him for, like, you know, being, like, fucked up now. You know?
Right. But, I mean, I don't know that I've seen anything that says, oh, it's her fault that he's fucked up.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's why I was saying, like, I was expecting the flashbacks to be different. Like,
and again, I don't know if they're saving that. Like, if the key to that is, that's going to be a part of whatever sparks any kind of reconciliation, if that's where they're going. But I don't feel like that they're doing the story any justice by, like, slowly doling that information out. Like, I just want to know right now, like, what exactly was his fucking problem? Because on the surface, it just is like, yeah, he just was a kid who wanted to run around with his, you know, dad's crew, and she was like, no. Okay, so the Porco. I keep saying Porco, and that's a character in Attack on Titan, and I'm so sorry.
It sounds like a Looney Tunes character.
I know. Porco's new girlfriend, who apparently Alma knows.
I felt like it was like not like a new, like a, even a. I felt like he was with.
Well,
her
you know what I mean. Like, it's it's his girlfriend. Yeah.
Right. But he was just like living it up, like normal life, and
I mean,
just he
so
was
like
Wilson. It just kind of threw me off that he was just had like this house, and I was expecting a family, just eating dinner, like he was just a normal person. I didn't expect that.
And then we get a cat fight, like, I guess.
Yeah. He liked that part.
He did.
The writing.
Like, yeah, I like this shit.
Yeah.
I feel like the writing there was so thin. Like, she just starts fighting.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, honestly, it was okay. So
I felt like they had. I mean, you could tell they had history because they knew.
No, of course, but I felt like I wasn't surprised that the fighting started. I was actually surprised that it kind of took as long as it did, because I felt like Alma definitely said some shit that I was like, oh, you can get popped in the mouth. Like, you know, and then the more Carmen kept taking it, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, this isn't believable, because I don't feel like any woman that would be a Parko, you know, would be the type of woman to let somebody keep lipping off like this. But then when she turned and walked away and she was putting her hair up in a ponytail, it's like, oh, okay. Here we go. This is way more believable.
Yeah. Like, Alma
had that shit coming.
That's the thing, is, like, I feel like Alma should be dead. Honestly. Like, the way that she just keeps walking up into places.
Yes.
And talking to people any way that she wants.
That's why it's hard for me, honestly, sometimes to take, like, the danger of this world too seriously, because it feels very much like a video game, because she just keeps, like, fast traveling to these locations.
It's just like she has to walk a certain amount into the door before the cutscene starts.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what it felt like here. Like, I feel like the fight could have been better.
Yeah, it could have been.
Because, like, to me, like, it made sense, like, the way that Alma was acting, like, she can not only handle herself, but she could beat the fuck out of Carmen easily. It's the way that she was acting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it felt like the way she was acting, it was like...
And granted, she got, like, sucker hit, but still, like, I wanted more. Yeah.
And then, so, like, she just, like, pushes Carmen up against the wall, like, stop. And I was like, okay, here's where it starts. And then that's where it ended.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. All right. I mean, it just felt... like the whole show, it felt rushed. Like the whole thing, it does feel like they were given a budget for 4 episodes, and they were like, man, we got like 12 episodes of shit here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I wonder if this would have been a little bit better if it had been 6 or 8 episodes maybe, and they could flesh out some of this stuff so that you get to spend a bit more time with, you know, them before, even if it just means you have like, you know, like a time jump, kind of like they did, right? But like we get to see more of the stuff in the past, and maybe then it'll feel more real and connected, as opposed to just these flashbacks that don't really tell us anything.
Right, and that's it, because like I feel like the budget that they did get, like they're doing a great job with set design. Like I think the set design is really good. Like when she goes out when she finds Skell, like the building he's in.
Yeah.
Like the paint on the outside and then on the inside.
Yeah.
And then the whole scene with Wilson and Susie, and that I loved all of that. And like I felt like that scene was so well constructed, like just in terms of the set. Like I felt like that, you know, it felt lived in. And like similar to like when Alma is walking down the street before she comes up to Parko's house. Like I felt like that whole scene, like that scene felt like it cost money. And it's just like,
but see, for me that it felt like a set though.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it felt like a fake New York City street.
West Side Story.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like in the Heights. It just felt like.
Yeah, exactly. It did. It felt very designed. It felt like, that's the thing, is like all of this does feel, you know, like the name, like the name list on the wall, like that feels very fake, but like in a good way. Like to me, like it all feels very designed and deliberate in the way that it looks.
So sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Where was it? Right. So we have this cat fight. He won't tell her where Christian is. He kicks her out. Christian's killing people and stealing gold bars. And we find out that this is Wilson's gold bars because through his conversation with like an advisor or a friend named Susie, we learned that only 3 people know where he hides this gold, and this is now the second time that Parko has hit his goal. So he's like, one of the 3 is a snitch. And he shot that nigga in the foot. Oh my god.
That's the thing, is like I'm so intrigued by the character of Wilson, because like he's someone that he's hiding who he is to Alma. Right, like he's the kind of guy who's going to shoot a guy in the foot.
Yeah.
like that's him. But to her, he like in that one conversation, he apologizes to her 3 times.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to go do something. Oh, I'm so sorry. It took me so long. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't tell you." Like he's like that guy to her, and so then she, like, he helps him by the end of the episode. Like, so I'm so intrigued by him, and I think that's turned out to be the most interesting aspect.
Yeah,
of the
especially
show.
because as a politician, he was saying a whole lot of nothing. Like, you know, I got what he was saying about Parko, which is, you know, true. He's basically like, you know, Parko is just Trump. You know, he just wants to be in charge. He's not a good leader. He's not a good businessman. He wants to rule with fear, you know. And
he's gonna build the wall, and he's gonna make the free states pay for it.
But then he was like, I don't want to tell you what to do. I know you don't need anybody telling you what to do. I'm just going to keep these guys off your back. And I was like, okay, but what does that look like though? Like, okay, like, like, do you have any policies? Like, how is this going to work? Exactly. Because you do need some kind of order, you know? Who the hell keeps messaging me? I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me turn my phone off. Sorry. Yeah, so with that conversation with Susie, though, I really did like that because she talks him through the plot of a book that she had him read. How to put this? Like, how he should approach rooting out who the snitch is.
Yeah, like the truth doesn't matter.
Yes.
The truth is what he says it is.
I think it's the first guy in line, by the way. I just felt like he looked like, you know what I mean? Like,
he was sweating.
Yeah, he had something to hide the moment he was like, oh fuck, does he know? Why are we here? Why are we here? He was probably standing there like, oh fuck, I think we're the only three who know where the gold is. He knows.
He was like, I know where the gold is. These two guys know where the gold is.
Right.
I love the way that Wilson, like, that scene does such a good job of establishing him in his world, like, for the past 8 years. Like, where the kid is, like, scared of him, but then, like, he ties the kid's shoe and he's like,
yeah.
Even the king kneels to the future or some shit. And like, it just sells the character. Like, he's this guy who's like...
That's my dog growling, sorry.
He's a benevolent dictator.
Yes.
Like, he's like, oh, I'm nice to you, but I'm in charge.
Wait, so are there cannibals?
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Right.
I hope they'll see that.
Especially if they're like being like holding, like if you got this power group that's holding water, and you got those power groups, like if they're out there holding different aspects, and they're a group of people that have no food, and maybe they're.
But see, that's the thing, though. I got the impression though that she was providing water, but she was trying to be quote unquote equitable. And I think she thought, like a lot of, I guess, well-meaning white women, well, I'm not really asking for anything in return. Well, you're basically demanding to keep control of the water, though.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you see when Alma calls her on it, then later it's like, this pump is going to be on for 3 hours. Everybody is suddenly like, oh, this is better than that wildlife Central Park Zoo zebra hunt that Parko was serving us last week. Fresh fucking water, purified water, yes please. That gets my vote.
Number one, like, it's like, what is this, Mad Max? Like, yes. But then the other thing was like, how the hell did Alma know how long the water was going to be on? She just found out they were going to be there like 2 seconds ago.
I think what we're supposed to believe is there's like a conversation was had from like that moment where she makes eye contact with the girl and then she turns around. It was like, okay, because she knew to go stand up on that platform and all that. And I was like, this is corny, but okay. So they must have had a conversation.
I was so funny because she's just like, well, can't get my son. Guess I'll take over the whole place.
She's like, well, listen. Look, I respect this. She's like, I can't get my son. I'm going to fuck him up. I'm going to fuck Parko. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to take away anything that he thinks he wants or needs. I'm going to destroy it. I respect this 100 fucking %.
I'm going to ground him.
I respect the fuck out of this because fuck him.
She's gonna drown Christian.
And honestly, at this point, that's what I hope it's about. Like, I don't even care if she reunites with her son because fuck him too. Honestly, he's a fucking murderer.
It's all turned into she didn't even know this man was alive until like a day ago.
So I guess we basically talked about all of this. Odie's going to stay at the clinic with Alma because he finally admits, that he was going to ask Rose. And it's important to note that it really still has only been 2 days.
Yep.
Good Lord. So who is Tenny exactly to Wilson? Clearly somebody her father knew.
Well, I was even thinking that it is his daughter.
No, because he said your father would have been proud.
But he's also in the whole, I don't know, because I still feel like he's still playing that role where he's two people.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't tell if it was, hey, is this really his daughter and he's just doing that? As your father, he'd be proud, but right now I'm not his father.
That doesn't really make sense then, because but then you still have her as somebody who's close to you and at your side, and if the problem is that you don't want people to know who's close to you to harm them, then why even bother?
Yeah, so it could be like a niece, but I feel like it's somebody that's got to be like a really close relative.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's like, I like that. I like the Susie character, like when Alma comes walking out of there and Susie's like staring at her. It's like,
Just
all
like
right.
every woman. Do you notice too, like how these two men they both surround themselves with women?
Yeah. Yep.
And all the women, when she shows up, they're like, nobody's here for Alma.
Even Una is like surrounding herself with women.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's like, don't surround yourself with men. That sucks.
I just like how shook Skell was during this whole thing, because he was caught off guard by everything, and they kept showing his face. He sees the girl walk over to
because first
Wilson,
his
and he's like,
girlfriend
"What the
shows
fuck?"
up.
And then his mother shows up. He's like, "What the fuck?"
It was so funny when Una was like, I don't like any of these guys. I'm here for Z. And then everybody's like, who the fuck is Z? It was so just it just felt like Una said that, and then everybody was like, who the fuck is Z? And Una was like, wait, y'all don't know who she is?
Right.
It's like, I thought she was with y'all.
I do think, now that you think about it, because she admitted to her that she'd only been there for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
You just threw your support behind somebody who's been here for 2 days and admits they came from the outside. I mean, she could be working for the FSA, or, you know what I mean? Or
She'd be
USA.
going in there to tear them all down.
Mm-hmm. What if that's the plot twist?
I would love it. I want
Right?
something interesting to happen.
Anyway.
And this is another, because I'm going through like their arguments of their the debate, and I still don't understand. Yeah, I still don't understand what, like.
You're being very generous with that word.
Right.
It was like when you run for class president and Parker was like, "I'm gonna get us a soda machine in the cafeteria."
Like, they had
Vote for me and I'll get rid of homework.
The moderator was like he looked like the heavy duty or heavy metal. I can't remember his name, but there's a heavy metal singer. But that's who he looked like. But like Parker was talking about, like, hey, I want to push the people off the I guess there's people on like the Lincoln Tunnel or whatever the fuck he was saying. They have like the guards there, and I want to push them back. I was like, but they haven't really shown us these people fucking with them other than controlling the borders. And he just wants to have the control of the island, but they already have control of the island.
Well,
right?
they're not messing with them right now because it's like a ceasefire, right?
Right.
Like
Well, the DMZ
between the
is
other two sides.
Right. The DMZ is a point of where there's no, it's not, nobody's supposed to shoot. It's kind of like a free zone. Like that's what I thought a DMZ was.
Yeah. You're right.
So like it's already free. Like I don't understand either of these guys' arguments of what they're trying to do in this.
Because I think that they're saying that one of the things that they're fighting over, the USA and the FSA, is to control the DMZ.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only really a DMZ because there's a treaty going on.
Right.
Okay.
Like it wouldn't be demilitarized if the two places were still fighting over it. But because they've decided to have a peace treaty for right now, like they're not fighting over it or whatever. Which I don't know. Like it feels like it's been a peace treaty for like 8 years.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
That's why I'm confused.
Like, that's what I mean. I don't know the past of what's going on.
Right. So the past 8 years has been like this, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We need a governor. Like that. I don't know. It's just weird to me.
I don't think that the politics of it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
So I was just gonna reiterate. Like it just feels like the 8 years. Like it feels like they only had 8 years pass because they needed Christian to be older.
Right.
Like, that's what it feels like. I know that's not what it is, and probably in the comic it's explained better. But on the show, that's what it feels like. It feels like nothing has happened for 8 years. That's what it feels like to me.
Right.
Like it's just kind of like it's like, oh, things happened 8 years ago, and then nothing happened, and now the last 2 days have happened.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything has happened in between.
Right.
That debate, I swear, all Parko did was stand up there and basically was like, "What's my name?" That's it. He's
Yeah.
like, and when you see me on the street, what's my name?
And they said it.
And then Wilson got up there and like took him to church. Jesus Christ, he's killing it in this role.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that screaming?
Jack.
I really thought it was going to be a kid outside. Nope, my kid inside. Yeah, so okay, so what I didn't get to say at the start where I was like, I have thoughts and not all of them are good. Like, I don't care about the girlfriend stuff. Like, I don't care about, what's her name, Tenny? I don't care about whatever Romeo and Juliet shit they're setting up. I don't care about Alma and her son anymore. Like you said, like, it's like, oh, okay. I'm trying to get it right with Odie. Yeah. I do like that stuff, and I am curious to see. I am interested in the politics of it, although I do think, like you guys, that it's thin. Like, it doesn't really make sense that this is where we are after 8 years. But okay, I buy it. I don't buy it, but I'll accept it for now. Okay, where do we go from here? Like, I'm curious to see what comes of this and what this looks like. And yeah, it feels like this is one of those shows that's going to have one of those like musical type endings. Like, somebody's tragically going to die in the middle of the street, and then like symbolically a kid will turn on one of the fire hydrants. It'll be like this like overhead shot of everybody coming out to mourn like Odie dying in the middle of the street. So his death will bring everybody together.
This is no. Oh man, they'll carry his body off like West Side Story.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, like that. It does it absolutely, but especially because it's just 2 more episodes. Like, that's the thing. It's like, and that's, I mean, honestly, like, if we weren't podcasting this, you know, like 1 episode a week, right? I watched the first one. I was hooked enough that I would have just finished it and then been done with it. Like, you're like, okay, I watched that. That was something. Because I don't feel like it's going to get significantly better.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be like, okay, for the latest 2 episodes. And then, like, I think it's going to be worth watching for, what's his name? Playing Wilson? Hoon Lee?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's worth it for him. I think it's worth it for Rosario Dawson. I think it's worth it for Benjamin Brown. I think it's worth it for the cast to keep watching this, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm glad I watched that. But like for the story, I don't see it being something I'm like thinking about after I watched the last episode.
Who is the woman playing Una?
Let me see. It is Nora Dunn.
That's what I thought. She's from Saturday Night Live, right?
Maybe.
Oh my god, I thought you would definitely know.
I'm
pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah, 1985 to 90.
Yes. I don't think that I recognize her from that, though.
Really? That's so shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, well...
But you said 85 to 90.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's I couldn't tell you a fucking cast member from those years.
Okay, whatever. Fuck you.
I mean, I know, like, Dana Carvey and stuff. Like,
right, but I feel like they were even, like, in the 90s. I don't even think they were in the 80s.
Yeah, well, they moved into the 90s, yeah. But, yeah, she was fully 85 to 90, like... I was 3 in 1990, so...
Okay, whatever.
I'm trying to see what else, like, I recognize her from, if anything. Oh, she was on Futurama. I know that character.
Everybody was on Futurama.
Right? She was Morgan Proctor. The bureaucrat. She was on Boston Legal. Entourage. Yeah.
Boston Legal was... Sorry, I was on mute. Boston Legal was my shit.
Oh, yeah? Do you remember her from that?
No. Oh, wait. I think I might, actually.
She was Cynthia Rhodes.
That is Richard Mark's ex-wife's name.
Oh, really?
She's the girl who has the abortion in Dirty Dancing. Oh, she plays the girl. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now ask me how I remember that. Anyway, Cynthia Rhodes, look it up. Anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's the episode. Sorry, I'm eating a bun from Costco because I was hungry. And these things are so delicious. They're not buns, they're rolls. There are these artisan rolls that they bake there in Costco. And you put one of them bitches in the oven, 400 degrees for like 10 minutes. Do you like, what are they called? English muffins?
Sure.
Yeah. They're like those, but better. Like,
They're called, what, ciabatta? Is that how you say it? Ciabatta bones?
I'm sorry.
Ciabatta?
It's so good.
Yeah.
Fresh out the oven with some butter, a little grape jelly. Oh my god, so good. So anyway, Kaylee made one for me while we were talking because I was hungry. And I've been eating it. Sorry, guys. Alright. So, go ahead.
There's a couple things in my notes that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
One thing is we see from the last episode, she wrote that on the name list, right?
Yeah.
She wrote Eyes Forward, Love, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then she slept there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, okay. But then she leaves there to go fight Carmen. And then her son shows up at the name list. I'm like, why don't you just stay there? You could have seen him.
Yeah, that's true.
And obviously she doesn't know that, but like as the viewer, I know that, so I can't help but think, well, she could have just stayed there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just the way that it was framed for the show. I was like, anyway. So that was one thing I noticed. I liked how Scale was basically Batman.
When
The guys who were like outside of school shooting some hoops, and he started.
Oh
making
yeah,
trouble in
that's
their
right. That's
neighborhood.
right.
like he just like shoots one of them, and then the camera is on the one guy, and he stands up behind him like that.
Yes.
So that was cool. I liked that. Scale is cool, like when he's not being an asshole.
But when he's not being an asshole, he's being a murderer.
Right? He's like, what's your name?
No, I mean that's what I mean. Yeah. But he's a cool character. He's not cool like I wouldn't want to be friends.
Yeah.
But he's still a cool character. He's like a hitman, you know. He's
Yeah.
interesting. That was one thing. Let me see what else. Let me see here. Oh, the one thing, the last thing.
Mm.
When Alma gets up talking to the whole crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does she start? She says, "You don't know me, but you should listen to me." It's like, that's not the way you get somebody on your side. It's like, who the hell is this? You don't know me. I know I don't know you.
Thank you. She should have led with the water.
Yeah, she should have lead with anything that gets them on your side.
Yes.
And she's like, I'm a stranger. I'm from outside. You don't know who I am. It's like, okay.
And that's like, I'm so surprised. Again, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so surprised that no one has yet. Well, maybe that's coming, especially now that she's, dipped into their politics. But just the idea that she could be anybody.
Yeah. And,
Do you know what I mean? And if you're worried about one of the two other sides, like the fact that she's openly admitting, like, I just got here 2 days ago, and like, I don't know. Which I guess if she was some sort of like operative sent from one of the other countries, I would imagine she wouldn't say I got here 2 days ago. they figure that's too stupid to be a spy.
That's what she wants you to think.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. I feel like the Susie
Can you
character is a great character to bring all of this to Wilson's attention. I think because like Carmen will probably say some shit like why, like what's going on with her, but like I feel like because Wilson is on.
I see what you're saying.
Side.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Wilson is on Alma's side, and so Susie is like, "Hey, what are you doing trusting her? Like she's from outside, and we already know that, at least from the way she looked at her, that Susie doesn't trust Alma.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, I think that's that could be interesting. But I think like the idea that it's just Parko and Wilson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes it really feel very small.
And especially though,
like,
but then like when he names all of the like when they were doing the roll call with their support,
all the different groups.
Right, there was like 4 or 5 groups there, but then Parko's like, "Oh, let's not forget," and he rattled off like 7 or 8 more, and I'm like, how the hell are you two goofballs holding all of this down? How is there no other contenders?
The people that he already had on the side were the ones that it was at his rally in the first episode.
And you know what? That like just thinking about that, like this could very easily like Game of Thrones, right? Like the fact that with Game of Thrones, you got all those seasons. I know it fell apart at the end, but you got all those seasons where you learn about these different factions of people, and like they're the way that the power is divvied up between them, and it's just like it just feels like there's more meat here that they could have explored instead of just jumping right to, oh, it's 8 years later and these 2 guys are the only 2 who have any say about anything.
Like I think I said this last week. I think this would make a really cool anthology series where you have, sometimes the stories are like the next one is out of the DMZ, and then maybe you're referencing things that happened. You have your next story set in the FSA, and then someone mentions that there's some sort of election going on in a DMZ, like that type of thing, But and then the world is built that way, and so you're getting a little bit more information about what happened and what things are like now. Through those viewpoints, and then you just have to kind of let that stuff go. Like, this story does feel very comic booky,
in all the worst
like
ways.
Why the Last Man type thing. Yeah. Where this type of stuff I think plays better in comic books, but in live action, I guess, I don't know, some of this stuff is a little harder to swallow.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, I obviously, the 3 of us haven't read the comic, right? But like, I feel like it was 76 issues we said last week. I feel like there have to be like the guy who got beat up last week from the 2-4s or the 4.
Did you notice he was not there?
Oh yeah, no, he's not there. He's probably dead.
Yeah.
But like, I bet like the comic probably talks more about him and his power in that group and how that group relates to these other 2 groups that are now like vying for this governorship. Like, it just feels like there's more there to like, who are those other groups? Who are those people?
Right.
And I'm like, for the last 8 years, what's happened with them and what led them to a position where they're pledging allegiance to Parko?
Right.
Or to Wilson. What led to where we are now instead of just having them there as like the background.
He and that was what it was, right? Like, I feel like they didn't want to be like beholden to him, and so they couldn't support him. But I don't like they didn't like support Wilson either, if I remember correctly, right? Was that what it was? And so that's when he was like, okay, fine, you can not support if you can walk out of this room or some shit, some macho shit. Then he got his ass beat. So when they called out the 2-4 at the roll call, and it's like, here's some other guy.
Just another guy.
Yeah, just another guy. I was like, oh, I guess Jordan lost his leadership in the 2-4. It would have been funny if he'd been standing there like bandages and stuff trying to do the 2-4.
He'd have been like, I support Parko. I support Parko the whole time.
Oh, the whole time. Never doubted him. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes. By the end, again, I swear I feel like I've started to say this so many times and I don't think I ever got it out. I wasn't feeling a lot of the same stuff that you guys weren't feeling. But then by the time we got to the part where everybody was like chanting her name, and fucking Parko looked like he wanted to fucking spit, I was like, oh, I love this. I'm here for this petty.
Right, like those are the interesting things. Like,
Yeah.
of what we've been given, like it's like they're like at a certain point, like you just gotta accept what the show is giving you,
Yeah.
and what they've chosen to focus on, right?
Yeah.
Like, we know there's more out there. We know that, you know, there's a history here for 8 years, and it obviously, like, you could acknowledge that the show's not really telling you that information.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you acknowledge that, then you go, okay, what are they actually saying? What are they doing? You know, like, what is the story they're telling? And this is the story they're telling, and it is these two guys, and, you know, and Una and Alma, and, like, that's what they're telling, and, like, that is interesting, like, especially the Wilson part. I can't say enough. Yeah. I feel like the Wilson stuff, especially with Susie, like, I just liked that. That
was really good.
It felt like there was depth to them, and you could feel like him going from an orderly 8 years ago to what he is now. You can feel that Susie was a big part of that.
Yep.
Like you feel that because, like, the way that that scene played and the characters played off of each other, and, like, you don't really feel anything with Parko, and like you just feel like he's the same guy he was 8 years ago. Like, that's just it. We didn't even know him 8 years ago on the show, but that he just feels that way.
The same person, absolutely.
Right. It just feels like there's been no evolution for 8 years, and, like, even like Christian or Scale, he's changed. Like with Parko, like, there's just nothing that's different about him, and so that it makes him less interesting than Wilson.
I will say this is. I thought they were going to go in a different route with the whole, at the end of last week's episode, when you realize that she has a connection to the two guys who are, and again, I was a little spoiled because the second episode had started playing, like, right away. And by the time I realized it and paused it, I did see the description, and it mentioned a debate between Wilson and Parko. So in my head, I'm thinking, going into this episode, that we're probably going to get, like, a love triangle type thing. But Parko is like, fuck her. I hate her. Like, it's kind of refreshing that we're not doing that whole thing, you know, where they're both interested in her and all of this stuff. Like, I don't want her with Parko in any way, shape, or form. I'm so glad the show is not about that, you know?
Right. And it'll be interesting, like what'll happen, like if Una does decide, wait a minute, I don't want to support Wilson.
Yeah.
Like that, you know. Those are the interesting things, like the questions that make me want to watch, you know, the next episode.
Well, we will be back next week to talk about the next episode, episode 3, which will be the penultimate episode because, again, this is only 4 episodes. We are covering also, what is the other free thing we're doing? Why am I so bad at this? Pachinko. I cannot remember which one is free, but I can just tell you what we have coming up between this, the free show, and premium, which is over on patreon.com/podcastfandom. We are about to begin recording next, as a matter of fact, coverage of the Halo television series. It is the live action series based off of the video game of the same name. It's over on Paramount Plus. We watched the first episode. I've watched it a couple of times now and really, really enjoyed it. And we're covering that over on Patreon. Also, it started, I haven't watched it yet, but I will be recording for it early next week. Pachinko. It is another streaming original series. This one's on Apple Plus. Yes, Apple TV Plus. It's based off of a novel of the same name. And then there's one more new show. Moon Knight. Is that next week?
Oh, yeah. Moon Knight.
Yes.
Wednesday.
Yeah. So Moon Knight is next week. That's also over on Premium. Kaylee and I are still covering extracurricular and Attack on Titan, although Attack on Titan is not on this week. Excuse me.
Super Crooks.
And Super Crooks. Yes. So a lot of great stuff over on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/podcastfandom. And that's it.
And I can just tell you, according to the schedule, Pachinko is the other free one.
Okay. Yes.
And extracurricular.
Are we moving extracurricular? That might actually be a mistake. I'm not sure.
Well,
I don't know. I'm just gonna trust what I wrote.
Well, on the schedule, it says Halo, Station 11, Pachinko, and extracurricular.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess you will get extracurricular for free. I think I might wait until it's all done, though, and then just upload it all, like I did with the other series. So, interesting. But either way, there is a lot of great stuff coming up, and the website will be up and running hopefully in a couple of weeks. Again, I try to work on it a little bit every day, but some days it's easier than others. But anyway, regardless, thank you for your support, and thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week.